What's up, everybody? This is Mike over here. This is my 2019 Kia Stinger. Do a quick walk around on the car. Do love this car. I did get the Stinger when it first came out in 2019, and I think what I really loved about it was basically Kia's Hyundai Genesis's rebrand of going into a new direction to start making cars that are much better handlers, much better performers, because this car specifically was tuned by Albert Biermann, who was the former vice president of the BMW M division. So obviously it's a Kia, it's Korean, but it has a lot of German blood inside of it, which I do love. Specifically for the Stinger, this is a GT car. So obviously people who know GT cars are meant to basically be grand tourers, right? They're supposed to be comfortable for long distance journeys, but when you want it to be sporty, it's supposed to also have that sporty aspect to it. So that's what I do love about the Stinger so much. It's a good balance between comfort and performance. So in terms of some of the mods that I did to it, so in the first couple of mods that I did to it was putting the wing in the back, and then it is lowered on Eibach lowering springs. I also do have front and rear sway bars. Do also have the rear roof spoiler as well, obviously aftermarket wheels, and do have some aero on it. So mostly suspension mods. Oh, I also do have an exhaust on it too. That is a Borla exhaust, and I also have the turbos venting to the atmosphere, so it does make like a little whoosh sound whenever. So that's pretty cool. I like it from that perspective a lot. A lot of times when I did first get the car, a lot of people were like, "Yo, what kind of car is that?" And I'd be like, "Oh, it's a Kia." And people would be like, "What? That's a Kia?" I think too, it's because people like never really expected a Kia to look like this. So I'll also mention, did kind of do some of the rebadging to the front as well. Put a Kia carbon fiber logo on it. Do have some front aero on it as well. I also just put this over here for the lights, and some carbon fiber. This carbon fiber over here, carbon fiber over here, carbon fiber over here as well. So just some minor modifications to get it more on the sport and grand tour side of things. Do love the car a lot. I did get it brand new. I originally leased it, but I bought it out during the whole leasing COVID pandemic thing, because it just made better sense for me. So yeah, the car has 365 horsepower, and I believe it's 370 pound-feet of torque, somewhere in that range. My numbers might be a little bit off, but it's definitely somewhere in there. So it's very usable fast. It's not too fast, it's not under fast, but it has a lot of power, which I love. A lot of get up and go. You press on the pedal, it doesn't ask any questions, it makes moves. So that's what I love about the car. So with that said, I think we can basically go inside and get started. I do have it venting to the atmosphere, so you might be able to hear that a little bit. This one is the all-wheel drive one. So when I first got it, I actually wanted rear-wheel drive. I've always been like someone who has rear-wheel drive cars, because for me, a lot of times I feel like all-wheel drive cars kind of mute the feeling a little bit, and like you can't do obviously as much fun stuff like drifts or whatever. But this car's all-wheel drive system actually made me a believer in all-wheel drive. The thing I love about the system too is when it's in comfort mode, it sends 40% of the power to the front wheels and 60% to the back wheels, so it's always rear-wheel drive bias. But when it's in sport mode, it's only sending 20% of the power to the front wheels and 80% to the back wheels. So then it becomes really rear-wheel drive bias. So even though it's an all-wheel drive car, the car always feels like it's a rear-wheel drive car, which I love. And just the addition of just having all-wheel drive, the car never literally ever struggles for like grip off the line, which is something that I've come to love a lot as well. Something that's really cool about the car also, with the all-wheel drive system, it has torque vectoring. So that basically, it has torque vectoring by brake. So basically, if you're going into a corner, what it's going to do is going to pinch the pinch the inside wheel. Like for example, if you're going around the left quarter, it'll pinch the inside wheel, which would be the inner left wheel, so that it can help the car rotate. So that basically helps the car feel super agile as well when I'm driving. There is a little bit of traffic in front of us, unfortunately, but I can talk about some other stuff too while it is a bit of a slowdown in here. Things about the interior that I do love. The interior, like, it's very like minimalist laid out, which I do love. That was one of the first things that really strikes me for a car, right? Like for example, like I really do love this car. I want to keep this car for a long time. They don't make the Stingers anymore, so this might even become like a collectible. But the thing I do love about the interior, it's very timeless. So I do see like in a couple of years it's going to age really well, which I do enjoy. And it's just comfortable. Back to that, as I was saying before with the exhaust, I do have a exhaust, a Borla exhaust over here. It's not too droney, which is good, right? At first, when I first got it, I would always ask all my occupants in the car, like, hey, is the exhaust like annoying or anything of that nature? I'm gonna give these people some space so we can go a little bit quicker. I'd be like, hey, is the exhaust annoying or anything of that nature? And people would be like, no, actually, it's not. And actually, even when I'm driving on the highway, cruising speeds, it's not even that bad at all. One thing that I do notice about the exhaust, which is quite funny actually, is a lot of times when people are sitting in the back, and I've experienced this too when I let people drive my car, the exhaust kind of like rocks you to sleep. So a lot of times people will be in the back and they'll be like passed out, because it's kind of like you're just being like rocked to sleep essentially. So that's something that's interesting. Slow down a little bit, some people over here. So the handling of this car is really good. It's a Grand Tourer, right? So it's not going to be like a sports car, or like straight out the factory is not going to handle like a M3 or M4 or anything of that nature, right? But you can feel that with some modifications, it can get to that level. It wasn't meant to be that type of car, but with the modifications that I have done to it, I have, like I mentioned before, lowered it. Also have front and rear sway bars on it. It can 100% keep up with M3s, M4s, any of the German benchmark cars, C63s. Mostly it actually would be more of something closer to like a E class size, right? That's what's so cool about the Stinger also. It's kind of like a in between a 3 Series and a 5 Series, or a C class and an E class in terms of its size. So it really fits like in a good, not too big, not too small. And one thing that's also super cool about this car, it's a hatch. So like whenever I'm like traveling or have a lot of stuff to like put in, I can literally fold down the back seats, raise the hatch, take off the lid, and like I can pack this car pretty much like an SUV, which is like pretty much amazing. Let's give these guys some space. About to pull in right over here. Yep, so this is my Stinger. I've had it for about 4 years, and I really do love this car. Like when people say like you get an emotional attachment to a car, I am emotionally attached to this. And Albert Bierman, I do think he is one of actually the tuning gods of cars, so I'm glad that he was able to build this car.